Hi, this is Bob Weir again with another video interview of people in the news in North Texas. And my guest today is Ty Albright, career commercial real estate project manager who provides project management services for various real estate developments and assists with the formation of co-housing groups. Thank you for being here, Mr. Albright.
Thanks, Bob.
If you would please give our viewers a brief description of what co-housing is.
I tell people co-housing is, in essence, a small neighborhood where everyone who lives there agrees to be a good neighbor.
Okay, that's
it.
That's to the point. And how long has co-housing been around? How long has it been used?
It's been around for thousands of years. Back in time, it was called a village. And then what happened is, with the post-World War II, with the invention of the automobile, people started changing the way they designed housing. And they designed housing around the automobile. So what you have today is that the vast majority of all housing, you take your car, you drive into a two-car garage, the door goes up, the door goes down, and you rarely have an opportunity to interact with your neighbors. And as a result, we have growing isolations. Co-housing is simply a shift from that, where they're trying to get back to the concept of having housing designed for people, whereby you have a greater opportunity to interact with your neighbor.
Oh, and I understand that you gave a co-housing presentation recently at the Mound Library.
Yes, we're trying to bring co-housing to Flower Mound, and we have a meetup group called Flower Mound Senior Co-Housing, and we've had a meeting both at the Flower Mound Library as well as one of the fire stations. The way co-housing today is formed is that typically you identify a group of people who are interested in participating and you form a group. So we're at the early stages of forming a group to participate in the development of co-housing in Flower Mound.
And are there any co-housing developments currently in the area?
Not in Texas. Co-housing, the co-housing movement started in Denmark and in the Swedish nations, and has spread throughout Europe, and basically came to the United States in the late 80s, early 90s, largely through the efforts of two architects, Katie McCammon and Chuck Durant. And co-housing is largely centralized on the east and west coast. You do have pockets of co-housing in places like Boulder, Colorado, and areas like that. The closest co-housing community that we have in Texas is up in Stillwater, Oklahoma. It's a senior co-housing community called Oak Creek. I believe that's the name. Currently in Texas, there's no co-housing communities, and I'm hoping to change that. I am a member of the board of directors with the Co-Housing Association, which is a national-based organization who attempts to connect people with co-housing resources and professionals, and is a clearinghouse for information. And my region is Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and we've got a lot of work ahead of us to bring co-housing to this area.
And what is the price range for these homes?
Well, in theory, it could be anything you want. In theory, you could develop co-housing with tents. And in some cases, people pursue that. But in general, co-housing is price competitive to other housing that you're typically accustomed to, with the exception that it typically runs 20% more than your typical housing. And the reason is twofold. One is that with co-housing, there's a lot of shared common facilities. A typical co-housing community has houses centered around common areas, and the common areas most typically always includes like a common house where people have shared meals, but it also might include such things as a shared building of tools, could be a workshop, could be shared gardens, it could be shared pavilions, things of this nature. So in addition to owning your house, you own a pro rata share of common facilities, which are rather extensive. And then in addition to that, co-housing tends to attract people who are very focused on green and sustainability. So consequently, green and sustainability translates into a better built home, one that is energy efficient and costs less to operate. So better built homes cost more money to build, and with the added shared common facilities. So typically a house costs about 20% more than any other comparable house in the area.
So then in a given community, there would be different models of homes, different
Could be whatever you
different
want.
price ranges and,
Could be anything you want. The thing about co-housing is it's driven by the people who choose to live there. Typically, you get a group of people who want to live in co-housing, and then they decide what they want to build. They decide the architecture, they decide the design, they decide how expensive they want it to be, and then they work to go out and build the community. They find a developer, they find a builder, they find an architect, and they decide what they want, where they want it, how they want it designed. Now, that is the traditional way that co-housing is developed, particularly in this country. You form a group, then you go out and you build your community. Now, part of the challenge with that is there's a big frustration where people who decide they want to live together in community, but now they have the hurdle of trying to learn how to be real estate developers. What's happening recently is a changed model where there's now a lot of developer-led co-housing. And the difference being is that developers who are interested in providing this new product, they find the site, they find the general plan, they get the general city approvals, then they go find the group to say, I'm ready to build you a co-housing community here, I just need people willing to step forward and be a part of it.
are these communities generally more appropriate for seniors?
Not necessarily. Senior co-housing is the growing area of co-housing. Co-housing can be whatever you want. Typically, it's either multi-generational or it's senior co-housing. Now, in this country, we have a shifting demographic. We have a lot of baby boomers retiring, and we need a housing solution for them. And senior co-housing is a great solution for that demographic because there's a lot of discussion about what are your alternatives as you age, and there's a lot of discussion about wanting to age in place. All right, senior co-housing will not replace, what ultimately is going to befall all of us, which is some form of assisted living and heaven forbid, dementia care or something of this nature. However, because of the community that co-housing provides, it allows seniors to stay in their home longer and delay the need to have to be moved to some sort of extended care.
And I see you have several publications here about co-housing. Well, where can viewers get more information about it?
Probably the single best resource would be cohousing.org. Cohousing.org, it's the National Cohousing Association. They are a clearinghouse that connects people and information. If you go to cohousing.org, there's just like an encyclopedia of information on co-housing. And also in Texas, I'm trying to get people in Texas who are interested in co-housing identified to help them form groups. You can go to texascohousing.info, that's I-N-F-O, texascohousing.info, and it gives you an opportunity to register that you're interested in co-housing. And there's also some information there as far as additional resources you can access.
I was going to ask you if you reside in a co-housing development, but you're in the area and there aren't any.
There are no co-housing in Texas, so the answer to that is no.
Okay.
I would like to, but we need to get some built.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to this?
Co-housing is basically two elements. It's design and architecture, meaning the community is designed around the opportunity for neighbors to interact. And it's intentional community, meaning everyone who participates agrees to be a good neighbor. The benefits of co-housing are many. And, what I like to tell people is imagine an environment where you run into neighbors on a daily basis and have interaction with them. If you decide to go on vacation, you have someone who can watch your house and feed your cat, and it's a safe environment for families. There's countless reasons to be in co-housing, and it's something everyone ought to check out.
Well, I want to thank you, Mr. Albright, for being here to explain that. Perhaps you're onto something that is the wave of the future. Thank you for being here.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for watching.